Yes, because unless you share a document with somebody else, that document is viewable only to you.
When you sign up on the internet, isn't it all private?
You already have a Gmail account set up by Los Rios, by the district,
Yeah, I have that.
and you can use that to do this homework assignment.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so this is one homework assignment. So at this point, since I'm not going to do anything else with this document, I can close it. So I think this is a really useful mechanism. You can create your resume using Google Documents. And then for any employer that you want to send your resume to, you no longer need to send like a paper-based resume. You can just send a link and share that with the potential employer. And you can update it anytime you want to, and you don't have to worry about, where did I save, on my drive, okay? Or my hard drive crashes, I lost my resume, I lost my document. Because this is maintained by Google, it is a cloud. Not only is the application cloud-based, we'll talk about that in just a little bit, but the file is also saved on Google's storage system. Is that bulletproof? Can it survive a nuclear attack? Probably not. But you know what? If you lose your file on Google, I think a lot of people will be in big trouble too. So by comparison, I don't think you'll be in any particularly more serious problem than having your hard drive crash on you. What are the chances of your hard drive crashing on your computer versus Google's storage system get hacked and just or blew up by itself? So you kind of have to compare those two those two probabilities. Go ahead.
I was going to say, so you're saying that it's almost more secure because there are people whose jobs rely on the fact that it's secure?
Yes. Now Google, as well as most big data centers, their storage system is not a single drive. It is not 100 drives. It is much more than that.
Yeah.
They have specific robots that will go to a particular drive that has failed or is failing, and then it will replace that drive with another one.
They use robots to do that?
Yes, they use robots.
Cool.
Not only Google, any major data center would do that because they have to replace drives so often. They don't want to hire someone just to do that, and a robot can do it. And over the long run, it is less expensive.
Cool.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just wondering about Google being a cloud app. Is that SSD?
SSD, solid state device.
Yes.
I think Google uses probably a variety of storage devices. Probably usually what happens is the front line would be RAM disks, so they are extremely fast, and then you have SSD, which are really fast, but they don't have the capacity. And then the third tier would be the hard drives where you have all the capacity.
We're talking about the storage.
The storage, yeah, 3 tiers. Yep.
I've heard that Google's started using Fast Track.
Okay.
It's a different memory type of storage.
Okay.
Heard about that one?
Nope, I have not. Is it flash based or is it
It's
RAM based?
It's 3D memory
Oh.
that uses micro filaments and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's kind of like, you see those movies, Data Cubes kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
It's
So
along
it's
those
3D.
lines, where it gives you a
Interesting.
three-dimensional place to write instead of just a flat place.
Instead of just the surface.
Yeah.
Okay, well that seems very interesting. I have not looked into that yet. All right. So this is how you do the one of the 2 homework assignments. So I'm going to close this for now, and then we'll move on to the next one. So I'll show you how to do the other homework assignment, which is now due on Saturday at 9 a.m. So I'm giving you guys 48 more hours to do it. That one appears as a quiz. You can see a little check mark here. That's the icon of a quote-unquote quiz. But this is not really a quiz because in the real quiz setting, I would limit how much time you have to answer the questions. And this one basically has unlimited amount of time. So anytime before 9 a.m. on Saturday is okay. You can get started now and work on it over time. You can even continue on a different computer. Okay, you can get started here and say, well, I need to go somewhere else. I have to log out. You can log in again on another computer and continue the same attempt. Okay, I set up this particular quiz so you can do that. So I'm just going to finish some questions of this test. It has 10 questions. You can skip questions if you want to. Like if you look at this question and say, I'm not quite ready to answer the question, you can always come back and change the answer too, as long as it is before the due date. So do some research on your own and select an application from the following. Okay, I'm just going to pick the first choice here. And with this one, which party is usually responsible for the development of software drivers? I just picked the first one. And I'll pick the first one here. I'll pick the first one here. And you can see that as I go on, these things get grayed out because it tells me that that particular question is answered. Yes?
Can you take the quiz like many times or just one attempt?
You only have one attempt. You only get one attempt. Yep.
But that means you have to do finish attempt for that attempt to be done, right?
You have to click. Oh, okay. So you have to click finish attempt to mark it as all finished. As long as you don't click that, you can go back and change it.
So if my computer just like the internet connection or the computer itself just stopped,
Yeah.
and I was halfway through this, I'd be fine.
Yes, you might have lost the last question. Like if I click here, and then the computer crashes,
Yeah.
I would have lost that particular answer. But if I go to another computer somewhere else and log into Moodle again, I will be able to continue that particular attempt,
Okay.
minus this question number 5 because that didn't have any time to send it to the server. Yep.
So if we skip a question, we need to come back to it later?
Absolutely. Yep. So I can skip all the questions to number 10 and select the first one. Now remember, I'm only selecting the first one. I don't know whether the first one is really the answer or not. Well, yes, I do, but I'm not picking it because it is the answer. So I pick the first one, and then I can click next. And you can see that I have not yet answered a bunch of those. So I can return to the attempt and continue with answering those questions. As long as you don't click finish attempt, it doesn't finalize your answers, and you can still go back and change it. Okay. Now you are supposed to work on this by yourselves. So this is not supposed to be a group effort. Okay. Group as in 2 or more people. Okay, so you're supposed to work on this, by yourself. And you can use the internet too. Many of these questions, will actually hint and say, okay, you have to do some research on your own. In other words, you can use Google, you can use Wikipedia, you can use any type of search engine and do your own research to find the answer. The idea of this particular homework assignment is not really just to check whether you are in class and listen to what I say, but also to give you an opportunity to branch out and look for information yourself, which I think is a very important thing that you have to do for just about anything. Okay, but you still have 2 whole days. 2 days minus 1 hour and a half. Because by the time this class finishes, you would have lost 1 hour and a half out of the 48 hours. Yes.
I'm already doing my quiz. Do I have to do it again?
No, you do not. Any other questions? No other questions? All right. So at this point, I'm going to kind of quit the quiz because I can come back a little bit later, and I'll return to my normal role, so I can continue to teach the class. All right. So those are the 2 homework assignments, and if you check read upcoming events, you can actually see the due date of both. The checkpoint homework, which is kind of like a quiz, is going to close at 9 a.m. on Saturday. The other one is closing on 9 a.m. next Tuesday. So this is a quick and easy way to figure out, okay, how much time do I have to do a particular homework? You can just look at upcoming events, and that will tell you, when each homework is due. Right. So let's go ahead and continue with cloud applications, because that the whole idea of postponing that particular homework assignment is because I didn't have a chance to talk about this yet. Yep.
On that events thing, is that something I could like export to my Gmail calendar or something?
Say again?
Could I export your events list into a Gmail calendar account?
I believe so. The question was, is there a way to export calendar events to your particular calendar?
Yeah.
The answer is, I think so, because if you go to calendar, now let me change my role to a student just to make sure that this can be done by a student as well. Okay, so now I'm signed in as a student. I will have exactly the same permissions as a student. You go to upcoming events, you go to calendar. Now this will give you a calendar view kind of thing. At the end here, you will see export calendar. So when you click export calendar, it will give you a chance to specify all these options, all events for this week, this month, and recent and next 60 days. So I guess I can pick this last one here. Then you can export it, and if I remember correctly, it exports it to a iCal or a calendar format that you can import into Google Calendar.
Okay.
Well, let's see if that works. It's ICS format, so I will click and save it. And then I go to my Google Calendar and see if I can import it. All right, so how do I import from here? This way, that's not it. Does anyone know how to import a calendar into Google Calendar? There has to be a way to do it, I would imagine. But I cannot see it just yet. Sorry?
Did you click more, or drop down next to settings?
Here?
No, more on the other side.
Oh, print, refresh.
Agenda?
No.
No, that's just a view. Actions, there's a plus there. Maybe that's
Where?
That's below
under
tasks.
tasks.
Under tasks. I don't see it.
In settings, was there an option to sync?
Sorry?
Would that be the same?
Say again?
In options, is there an option to sync?
There was.
You mean here?
Yeah.
Oh, right here. Nope, that's just my calendar setting. You know what? That's a sorry.
Calendar tab.
Oh, calendar.
There we go.
Import calendar. Yep, there we go. So it's kind of complicated. You have to go to the gear thing, go to the settings, and then come to this point, go to the calendars tab.
Saves me a lot of time later though. Saves me time later though.
Yep. But it only exports. You have to keep importing calendars because I don't have a full calendar for the entire semester.
Next 60 days.
Right. But if I change it, it doesn't update here.
It's not like a little feed link thing.
Correct. Yeah, it's not live. It's not dynamic.
They had a URL thing for it though too.
That might be able to do it. Okay, I'll have to play with it to find out what it can and cannot do. That's a good point. Good thing to look into. Very good. All right. So getting back to here, going back to cloud.